Hello, and welcome back. This video is about the sounds of music or sound. And a special thanks to all my supporters. Thank you for helping me help others. Alright, so this video will go with a little different format because I forgot to add Unreal as an audio source when I was recording the first time. And so all the files and whatnot have been set up in the project. I'm going to go over it all again. The first thing we do though is I have a music wave file I've downloaded from freesound.org. The link to it is in the description. Also have a sound pop sound I created. It's very simple, just a pop, and that's here as well. The first thing we want to do is, depending on how you want to use a certain sound object, music for example, you may want to open it up and click on looping. So we'll save that. We go back here. It's not easy to test because it's a few minutes long, but our pop sound, which is very quick, if we went in there and we set that to looping and then play it, you can hear that it's looping. That setting is respected if you play the sound normally in a blueprint or whatnot. So for testing, the first thing we'll do, and you can ignore this other stuff for now, in our main menu, I clicked on level select button, clicked on hovered to add this event here, and also made one for save slot. So for this, you can see it's very easy to play sounds. You can just call play sound 2D, and I'll just put the pop sound in here. So with that running, just hover over, you can hear the pop of both those buttons. Not these, because they're not set up. So while this works, it does mean that you're manually setting the sound file for each action you want sound. So if you ever wanted to change that sound or change the set of sounds, you'd have to go back and change them all manually. So instead, we'll make a little mini manager. So I'll get rid of that. We'll go into our game instance. This is the function in the end, but basically what we're doing here is I have a sounds map. This is a string mapped to a sound base. And we have a value in here, music01, linking to the file that I downloaded. This would be better if you were to go with a map. This would be better if you set the string to an enum, and then you don't have to have exact matching and all that in there. Even better than that is you could use a data table and have all your sounds listed in there, although a data table you generally look up by row name. Row name is a name or a string, so you kind of end up in the same spot. However, you could have another field in there that's the enum and look it up that way. We've seen that in previous videos, so I'm not going to cover that here. Instead, we're calling this function to play a sound by name. The first thing we're doing is we're getting our sounds. We're trying to find that sound name. If we find it, we set this local variable sound base to that sound. If we don't find it, we're just setting it to the pop sound, so this is effectively our default sound. If you don't want a default sound, you could throw in a bool as you send and say yes or no, you want defaults, or just remove this. And then lastly, if we have our sound base and it's valid, we're just calling spawn sound. This could also be, I showed you, play sound 2D. The main difference between play sound 2D and spawn sound 2D is that spawn sound gives you this audio component as a return value. When you have this, you can do things like call adjust volume. And this actually starts at a volume of 0, so if you're going to use that, you want to make sure you know that. Maybe set that to 1. So this will not change the volume at all. But we'll unhook this for now. Actually, I'll leave this up on screen for a few seconds. Good time to pause. So in our audio folder, basically what I did was I created a SC master sound class. To do that, you can right click, go to audio, go to classes, choose sound class. Once you have your master sound class, you can double click to open it. It's a graph like much of the stuff in Unreal. And in here, you can drag this out so it's a little window. And then you could drag in one of these entries here. Actually, I guess because it's already there, it doesn't like it. But if you did that, then this one would pop in, you can connect it. Alternatively, if you wanted to, you can drag from here. It'll say new sound class name. You can click on this or hit tab twice, and we can just do SC underscore, let's call it voice. And that will create another sound class right here. So I don't want that one, so I'll just delete that, delete it from here. We'll save this, close that. The benefit of setting it up like that is we now have a master sound class, and the music and sound effects are children of it. So changes that we make to this master will affect the music and sound effects as well. So while looking up information for this video, I found a well-written forum post by VLab22. I have also linked in the description, and it goes through some of these steps. So if you like a written format instead, that's a good place to look. So with that then, in our main menu, we can now convert this to calling our getGame instance from the function library utility, and then we're just calling play sound. We'll leave our sound name blank here because we know that will just go to the default. And if we go back and hit play, hover over these, you can see it's doing the same thing that it was. Also in our main menu, if we go up to our construct, we can then just get the game instance, call play sound for our music 01. We hit play with that. You can see the track I download starts playing. Now, if you want to change some aspects of that sound, actually we can go back into our play sound. We'll hook this up here. If we set this down to, and this volume level, you can actually set the curve here. You can't in the other way, but we'll leave it at linear anyways. Half doesn't sound quite like it's actually half sound, so we'll throw this down to 0.2, and if we hit play, you can hear that it's much quieter. We'll go back here though, and I'm just going to unhook this for now. And then in our main menu, we also have the option, and this isn't where you'd necessarily call it, but we have our two functions over here. We'll hook this up. So first we would be calling set sound mix class override. And after that, you want to also call push sound mix modifier. Now, the first entry here is that it is a sound mix modifier, which we have SCM audio for that. Very similarly to these, all I did was right click, audio, classes, sound class mix. So with that done, we go in here, we set our sound class to music because that's what's being played here. We're going to set our volume, actually set it back down to 0.2. And then if we go and hit play, nothing changed. The reason why nothing changed is because for all of your sound objects, you're going to want to set the class in here manually. So if we have this back open, there's a class here, in here, and you can see that Unreal does supply master music, normal attack, and a few others, SFX itself. You could use those. I assume the master has those as children. Actually, I guess we can just check that by doing this, clicking on Browse to the Master, opening that up. Oh, it doesn't actually have those as children, so you'd have to set it up anyways. So we'll just continue with the ones we're using. For our music, we want to set it to our SC music, and we'll set our pop sound to SC sound effects. So now that this is set to music, we can hit play again, and you can hear that it's lower volume. So that was setting it as the SC music. We can also set that as SC master. And since this is the only thing that we're setting, it should have the exact same effect. And it's quieter. Lastly, we can just revert this to SC music, and I'm going to drag in another one. This one here has the same mix modifier. It's a master one. We're setting the volume to half in this case. So if we then control drag this over here, and then drag that there, we're calling both of these, and they have a compounded effect. It may be hard to hear in the video, but you can play around with these entries. And one last thing to note is that we have both of these. They're both being multiplied together, so the actual end result is 0.1. If we then also hook this adjust volume back up, and again have this at some low value, It's even quieter. I can barely hear it, so I don't know how it's going to turn out on YouTube. But the point being, all three of those numbers are multiplied together to get the final value. For the benefit of future videos, I'm just going to unhook this and this. So I'm not playing music every time I go to the main menu in future videos. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video and would like to see more, you know what to do. And if you would like to support this channel, watch these videos 2 weeks early, or just want to download the project files, you can do so through my Patreon linked below.